I have a very semantic or technical point here. Funded students is a category I don't recognize. If we go back to the good old days when I was governor in 1975, the state funded very specifically, even research. The funding is about 52 or 53 million. The state actually funded that. And one time I had President Saxon in the governor's office. I said, David, I want to go over your research budget. And his face turned crimson, and he stood up. He said, you know, no governor is going over our research budget. That's called academic freedom or something. Anyway, but the point I want to make is we were funding very specific things. Now, it was only a few years ago, I believe, that the university was given a more bulk, as it were, budget. And so we don't fund students, we don't fund research. We fund what we fund, and then you manage as best you can. So I think that is a misnomer, because you add students, you subtract students. We're giving you 5%, 5%, and then 4%, 4%. And it wasn't based on how much research you did, more or less, or students, more or less. This is the way we had come to this simple agreement. And as we get in, so again, it's more of these words, and at the end of the day, what are the costs you have to incur to create, to fulfill your mission? And that's what we're wondering about. I will, now that I have the microphone, I'm going to just say something about UC. And this is purely anecdotal, but it does shape how I feel about things. I mean, there was a time when many members of my family, my mother, my sister, myself, in fact, two of my sisters, my nieces, my grandnieces, people just went to UC Berkeley. Okay, now, I know now Berkeley, these kind of people can't get in Berkeley anymore. Now, I don't know whether the research is better because of all that, or whether there's more people in the population, but it just feels that whatever used to belong to the normal people of California, assuming the Brown extended family is normal, it's not available anymore. And so you got your foreign students and you got your 4.0 folks, but just the kind of ordinary, normal students, you know, they got good grades, but weren't at the top of the heap there. They're getting frozen out. So that's another little issue. So those are my 2 points. We don't fund students. We fund the university. And secondly, I hope there will be room for Californians to go to Berkeley as well as Merced.
President Napolitano.
I want to just echo something the governor said, because it's important in budget and accounting land, which is that historically, over the last decades, you're exactly right, you didn't fund per student. You funded the university and allowed the university to manage, and that's the way the accounting systems were set up, et cetera, et cetera. One of the things that has happened is that AB 94 changes that, and is asking now the university to go back and disaggregate all things that had been aggregated pursuant to that understanding, and that has been, I just want to note this for the record, because we are getting ready to file our report in the next few weeks, but that has been a key difficulty, which is kind of a shift in the paradigm and the process by which all of these financial records are maintained. I just wanted to note that for the record.
Just 2 quick points. The money that went to the K-12 and the community colleges comes because of Prop 98. It comes from Prop 32, and everybody pitched in there. But essentially it's Prop 98, which happened before I was elected governor, after and before I was governor. So that was the K-12 folks and the community college. I think the universities were given a chance to be part of 98. I've heard by rumor that they said they didn't want to be a part of it. So I don't know the history of that. But anyway, 98 is going to absorb almost all the new revenue that's coming in, because the beauty of 98, from the point of view of the CTA, who I think engineered it, was when they're cut, you have to restore the cuts. You never escape. So if you've been in 98, all the cuts would have been restored by 98 funding. But you like to be a little different, and so you are a little different. In that sense. Secondly,
I wasn't here then.
no, you weren't here either. None of us were. So some of them might have been here. But the other point about the wave, look, the prediction, the graduations aren't increasing. They're pretty flat. And I mean, the wave are people like me, old folks. That's the big wave in California. And that demographic's going to take more and more state aid. So coming out of the high schools, if we don't get more immigration, it's going to be pretty flat. So we're going to try to do a better job, but it's career and college. And so then I also think the whole notion of community college, state college, university, we've got to find a way to break down some of those barriers so that we can get education. And I thought of a metaphor which I'm sure you won't like, but when we buy our cable television, it's all bundled, and we have to get, Monday Night Football or whatever these other channels are, and I can't pick and choose. Okay, well, it'd be nice if we could pick and choose courses, and it isn't just bundled UC, Cal State, community colleges. And I think with the digital technology and information being reduced to a stream of zeros and ones, that the boundaries and barriers are going to never be destroyed, but they will be changed. And there will be flow of opportunity across the whole system of higher ed. And so I think that's an area that we want to look at to see what that might portend over the next few years in terms of efficiency, saving, and expanded opportunity based on the type of technology. And I've just read today in the paper that Uber is 3 times as big now as Yellow Cab in San Francisco. It's a $500 million operation. So that's just Uber. Now, I'm sure the Yellow Cab Board of Regents never thought about that 5 years ago. But the world of technology changes, and we are in an information business. Not just information and data, it's also knowledge and insight and creativity. But at the end of the day, it's very reducible to 0-1, and it just flows, and it can flow in, it can flow out, and it can flow around all this post-secondary world that we all live in. So I'm very interested in seeing what might flow from that. I'm not prejudging it, but I just say we have to open our minds. And I don't think we can get that many high school graduates, but I know you're going to get a lot of old geezers. You're going to get a lot more of them, of which I'm a proud member of that club. So there.
Thank you. Governor?
Yes. Well, yeah, I know we're going to, I don't know whether I'll have unanimity, but we won't have any more than 2 opinions, and that's good. We're going to talk, I've certainly intended to talk, and I'm sure that President Napolitano does too, to faculty members. I've already spent several hours with the academic president at the Berkeley campus, and we'll find ways of talking. And this is an inquiry that whatever thoughts we get or facts will come before the board and we'll talk about it. And so this is it's not only advisory, it's rather preliminary, because the board is the ultimate authority, and there is a delegation of the faculty, but it is a shared governance, so we never disable ourselves from deciding things. We do it in a shared way, and that's something that will certainly be understood as we go forward.
Great. President Napolitano, did you want to comment?
Well, I would simply say that it's an advisory committee of two that I think is going to be engaged deeply and holistically in looking at the university and its future. And I certainly intend, Mary and Dan, to keep you fully apprised and to consult with you as we move forward, because you are right. There undoubtedly are areas that are not only areas for faculty who may be expert in a particular area, but recognizing that the faculty governance structure itself.